Welcome back, everybody. My name is JB Henry. I'm joined here by Peyton on Tetris. We're here calling all the action here at Classic Tetris 4, the CTWC Silver Bracket. We're here live at Portland Retro Game Expo with this lovely crowd in the audience.
Yeah!
And we've got our next matchup for you, the 4th-seeded Miles versus the 29th-seeded AV Geek. They are going to be just warming up here for a couple of minutes. What do you know about these players, Peyton?
Well, I know both of these players rather well. AV Geek is one of my good friends, someone I look up to greatly in this community, love talking to every day. And Miles, well, I think they speak for themselves, you know, they're some themselves. The Tetris, TikTok, I was trying to think of a word that started with a T, but just Icon himself, making the videos when you think it's over. Absolutely lovely individual, very kind, very fun, very good at the game. Had a rough qual yesterday, looking just to kind of hopefully wipe the house down, just absolutely demolish, get the revenge for that qual, because this kid is good. He is one of the best Tetris players in the scene at the moment.
And Miles, dash style player, and our first roller in Miles over here on Classic Tetris 4. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, with it being literally 1 foot away from me. But I think I'm going to be more focused on both these players. He's going to be focused on pulling away with a win here. And again, it's wild. Players with max outs are in this silver bracket.
Yep.
Never thought we'd be saying that.
Miles has 1.8 question mark, 1.7, and is in the silver bracket. And it shows, that quals are just their own psychology. I like to stress that because people think it's,
It is a different beast compared to playing out the full game. We're going to give these players about 30 more seconds to warm up, and then we will get ready here.
And a little thing about AV Geek, a DAS 1.2 player. Actually, should we let AV keep this going, because this is 320 at 62 lines on a 19 start.
We will have to keep things rolling, so no pun intended. And while that warm-up is finished, we want to thank you, all of the Twitch viewers, for joining us here. You got 4 channels worth of Tetris to watch, and we appreciate you for joining us here on this one. There's just some great competition, great community going on. Portland Retro Game Expo, all of our sponsors. We don't do this without you. Looks like both of our players are ready. Your random seed is going to be 606. 606.
So you're ready?
Are we ready, players? Best of luck to you. Let's start
down.
Classic Tetris 4 in 3,
3,
2, 1, Tetris! And both players starting on 18 here. Good clean boards for both of them. And already both players really deviating their blocking here. You see Spire build up on Miles' side. And AV just really building normally as a DAS player would. Is there more of an incentive to stack and rolling, or would you just say it's really all up to RNG?
Definitely with rolling, you know, all of the top rollers still are some of the best stackers in the game. I mean, yeah, you have more flexibility for misdrops or like something like this happens, but you know, at the end of the day, you're not getting 1.7 from just pure RNG.
Right.
It's taking, you know, the very solid fundamentals. I mean, Miles is someone who is very solid with DAS as well. So, and tap. He's, you know, on all three playstyles, he is one of the best players in NES Tetris on all three of them. So,
and it's great to have that versatile playstyle. Rolling again just seems to be the way to play the game at a high level. We're seeing a Tetris from AV Geek. He is holding on to a lead right now, 97-2 to 45-6. And Miles looking to set up for a dirty Tetris right in the center of that board. Looks like he is transitioning over. Looks like he made that misplay on that S block over on that left side. We'll see how that plays out. That stack coming up to get him here.
and if you're AV, you know, you don't want to goof this up because
AV in trouble too. Both players really high elevation boards here on 18.
a tough seat altogether.
Clutch angle piece there for AV, but again, both these players stacked up high. Miles, that misplay on that S block.
But Miles is able to dig these. So Miles, you need to get 109.
Out at a 109, an early exit here, not even 40 lines in. It'll really depend on Miles here. Miles could try to transition, see if this rolling will get him in, dropping that elevation down a bit. He's got that straight piece over, but he can't do it.
So AV is good for game number one.
A quick game one, Pete.
It just shows that, you know, you can be the best, one of the best players in the world, and RNG will still mess with you.
Let's go 4-4-4. It's going to be your seed.
Readies?
Are we ready, players? All right, in 3, 2, 1, Tetris! And again, very different sequencing from these players, but really the only sort of neutral pieces, as I like to call them, you know, the T block, the square piece, and the straight piece. Really only squares to start. But now we're starting to see these straight lines. Ooh,
AV thought that was a Vitz.
And that's a critical error. We'll have to work around it. So really.
But they get the bar, the cover, like fill the dependency immediately. Definitely the most ideal way to solve that situation.
RNG smiling on AV Geek as he was holding on to a lead, but Miles taking it right back, 69-160 to 69-920.
Where's the hey nows from everyone? Kingsman would be sad.
Players jockeying to be the first into 6 digits. It'll be AV first to 6 digits, but Miles was Tetris ready and now is Tetris ready again.
And that beautiful S flat to just keep the board, you know, keep the board at Tetris height and Tetris level.
I've always noticed casual players, those S pieces are always the most frustrating. But I see players at this level use them with so much versatility to them that you know, seeing those S
Especially for right well specifically, I mean, there's so much you can do with the S piece to keep your board just clean and efficient.
Miles made a bit of a mistake over there with an S piece. We're in columns 2 and 3. Working on fixing it though. He has that low elevation board, so really not too critical on his side. It is a very slight lead being held onto by Miles, but that double will give the lead right back to AV Geek. looking to pull off a big upset here on the 4 seed, and that would be massive and a big confidence boost here if you're that lower seeded player.
Just a win against Miles for AV would do numbers for AV in terms of overall ranking in the community, just confidence, And there's at the end of the day, you get to say, hey, even if it wasn't their best day, I still beat them, and this is something I have as just a tangible, I guess, record in the Tetris community.
We're starting to see Miles build up a nice stack there. He was getting a little dicey in the middle of his board. AV Geek holding on to a 40,000 point lead. He is Tetris ready. Both players Tetris ready. Miles taking the triple to lower his stack down, and then again burning a double. He'll be at 250,000. But AV first to 300,000 here as these players are halfway to transition.
AV missed the Z spin, but was able to recover very nicely with the T. And just AV is just vibing, able to solve this very nicely. Gets a long bar for the Tetris, has a long bar dependency in the middle of the board.
But that 3 deep well over the center of his board, which he just built, those are always glaring. You want to get those taken care of and patched up. Miles hitting a Tetris, he breaks 300K. So it is about, we'll call it a 45,000 point game. Not anymore with that Tetris by Miles. He makes it a 20,000 point gap now. And a Tetris from AV puts him at 384 as these players about 2/3 of the way to transition. Looking to get to that 400K plateau and beyond. A 407 for AV with that Tetris. He is, again, very, very near triple digits. 89 lines to 88 lines here. And Miles has a clean board. AV's got a relatively clean board. Nice play of that J piece.
Yeah, AV Geek with just over a Tetris lead here at the same line count. So this is like what you really need. You need this when you're playing a player like Miles. I mean,
Miles one Tetris away. He is going to take a slight lead, 2,000 points. But AV Geek responding with a Tetris of his own, 477 to 456 here. These players, again, about a couple dozen lines away from transition. And that's really when we'll start to see things fly.
I mean, I know the quals don't indicate it, but in my opinion, AV Geek is one of the best DAS players in the Tetris scene at the moment. I mean, consistency almost unmatched by any other DAS player. Sure, they don't get the highest scores all the time, but they are terrifying to play against.
It's more of a technique rather than raw power.
Exactly. I mean, look at just, could have set up so many different things there, and it was just calm.
And again, just narrowly close here, but AV Geek, he is closer to transition at that 123 mark, but getting close to 600K. He's going to get another Tetris. He has one more in his pocket. Going in with 600K would be very, very favorable.
That bar
like he's going to have to go into transition, no Tetris there, and that huge well in column 3.
Oh, but the burns, and AV Geek is set up for a Tetris here. Oh, covers the well, though, as soon as the bar comes. But AV is fine. AV's opened up the well again. Just needs a bar. Takes the triple, very smart.
Lower that stack, keep yourself viable here as he's close to 600K and holding on to a very slight lead. We're going to see another burn here, a double burn.
Miles Tetrising into the lead there, 6:14 now. This is where Miles will thrive.
This is obviously where the rolling players really start to show their stuff here. These higher speeds.
Oh, but Miles misdropping!
Oh.
When you think it's over, question mark?
And
AV swept Miles!
He is going to take the sweep. A big, big upset here in the silver bracket. AV Geek taking the 2-0 victory over Miles. A huge victory. And we'll have more action for you here as we get to our next match in the next couple minutes here. You are watching the Classic Tetris World Championship Silver Bracket here on Classic Tetris 4 on Twitch. We'll be back.
can be arranged.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Classic Tetris World Championship Silver Bracket here on Classic Tetris 4. My name's JB Henry. I'm joined by Peyton on Tetris. Peyton, we've had some amazing matches. We just saw one of the biggest upsets so far in the tournament.
Yeah, I honestly feel so bad for Miles. I mean, going into, he was considered like a top 16 seed and had a rough qual, barely even made it into a bracket. Was still 4th seed, so I can't say barely.
I would consider 4th seeded silver, barely, but not maybe in his own terms disappointing.
Yeah, very disappointing. And played a very formidable opponent in AV Geek, and they absolutely popped off, acing in just that last game.
I mean, we've seen big upsets before here at CTWC, so.
At the end of the day, I'm sure Miles is just happy to hang out with his friends.
So we're going to allow our players here just a couple of minutes to warm up.
Yeah, as Jakey Winks just showed up to the convention.
Literally showed up to the venue.
And it was just like, oh, I'm up, crap.
Here at the lovely Oregon Convention Center. We are being hosted by Portland Retro Game Expo. Give them a shout out. We've also got a ton of folks here watching live. Catch all the action throughout the weekend. Classic Tetris 1 and 2 for your gold bracket. For all your gold bracket needs, I almost said shenanigans. There won't be any shenanigans. It will be high-level play. And then over here, Classic Tetris 3 and 4 for your silver bracket. But as we allow our players a couple of more moments here to practice, this is my first time calling Tetris, and I'm having a great time.
Well, I'm glad that I can be here with you to do it. I mean, this weekend's, the perfect time. There's going to be a lot of new people getting into the scene because of what is happening here.
And we're all happy to see the community in one big room again. It's been rough the past couple of years, I'm sure, but we've seen things, while some things have been tough, we've seen a lot of things flourish, and I think the Tetris community is definitely one of them. All right, random is going to be 414. Shout out to our southeastern Wisconsin viewers. Don't you know? All right, are you players ready? All right. PRG, are you ready?
Yeah!
There we go. All right. In 3, 2, 1, Tetris! PRG is sort of ready. Well, they're going to be more ready as the weekend rolls on. We've got, looks like 2 DAS players, so, and the sequencing here already a bit different. Wyatt and Jakey with simultaneous Tetrises, so all we've done is increase their score by 22,800. Jakey's going to rock a triple and get a single. Wyatt has closed the well on column 10, but he has opened it up and is now Tetris ready, and he will get that Tetris. 69,160 for Wyatt as Jakey here looking to build up another Tetris here. Really needs to work on that right side. Gets the setup on that right side, but has closed the well, and what closes must open again as he gets a Tetris. But Wyatt holding on to a lead here, and Peyton a really, really clean board on Wyatt's side.
Yeah, this is one of my first times ever really watching Wyatt play, so this is really just, I'm kind of just soaking it all in. But absolutely phenomenal so far. Like, that adjustment of that square was just so amazing. I watched Jakey a few times. Hung out with him, got to know him pretty well. Restreamed him a few good times online. But Wyatt, it's kind of one of the names where I've heard of them, haven't really had the chance to watch, and it's really exciting to be able to do so just now.
Well, this will be a treat for you as well as our audience here, as we've got 2 great players here, and it's a bit of an advantage for Jakey. He's up by, we'll call it 35,000 points, but Jakey about to slam down a Tetris to narrow that gap. Wyatt close to 150. Ooh, tough misdrop there over at the top for Jakey with that square piece, but he does have that lower board elevation, so a little bit more easier to work out of, say if he was 5-6 rows up.
Ooh, didn't have full dash there for Wyatt for the S piece, so this is going to be a pretty high up dig situation, but gets it perfectly. He gets a bar for the split double, and it's going to get a dirty Tetris here. It's very nice overall wherewithal for Wyatt surviving that.
And meanwhile, Jakey, had to close it up, and now really is in a bit of trouble there on column 10. But working that stack down, he is back to being Tetris ready. Wyatt gets a nice tuck on the S. He's holding on to a lead of about, we'll call it 17,000. And a nice play here for Jakey as he is trying to narrow the gap here, 14,000. You hear that hype in the background, folks. It's all hype all the time here at the Classic Tetris World Championships. We're bringing you the hype here. The 19 and the 14 seed. And an absolutely close match if you're watching Classic Tetris. But right here we've got a close match as well as Jakey takes a lead of about 7,000 points, but Wyatt with a Tetris, he'll take the lead. Jakey looking for that straight piece to really, really hammer down another Tetris, but he is burning and keeping that stack low. There it is, up to 226, and he takes the lead, Pete.
Yeah, Jakey Wings kind of just dominating for the last few lines, but Wyatt is getting some beautiful placements down. I mean, a little flatter of a board, more accommodation for squares if they come. Jakey would not have that really at all, and you can see that with that S piece. So it's going to be really interesting to see, the dynamic going into the last 30 lines or so. You're going to want to be, you typically want to be pretty clean before transition. And as a DAS player, the last 15, 20 lines, your mindset changes to where you're like, okay, I don't just need to be clean. I need to maximize what I can without messing my board up entirely. Because
keep that board elevation low around transition.
Yeah, but you don't want to give up on those, that potential almost 100,000 points that you have in the last 20 lines.
And we're going to get a left side Tetris there from Jakey, but Wyatt has been pulling away here. He's up by about 70 grand. As he's really been slamming home Tetrises. He's Tetris ready again over on that right column, and he will slam it down 380,000 here. Both players in that 300K range, as Wyatt has had to close off that well, but now opens it back up and then closes it up with a square piece. Really brutal getting that one. There's nowhere to put it, but he is making do. Meanwhile, Jakey working off with a really tough center area here. Really just trying to keep pace here. Does have the lower board elevation, but with all those gaps, no real definitive well. A little bit tougher on his side.
For sure, and Wyatt's just, continuing the score after score. I mean, 100,000 point lead almost now going into the transition, and Jakey is unfortunately still going to have the burn while Wyatt is just good to go. And a Tetris for Wyatt, one more available.
Right next door over at Classic Tetris 3. They're having a good time. But we're having the best time with you watching as Wyatt first in transition at 480. A little bit lower transition score than I bet he would have liked, but still rocking a very sizable lead here. It is a lead of 6 digits at this point. So really, really good news there for Wyatt, as though Wyatt's getting a little scary. That was very scary. But got that piece to slide in.
Oh, and Jakey missed the quick tap.
Oh no, and Jakey is going to pile it on. He's out at 352. That secures game number 1 for Wyatt here, as these players prepare for game number
2. And for the next seed, we should meme it up a little.
What do you want?
69.
069.
069.
All right.
Give the king what he came for.
All right. Well, that you heard it. Seed 069.
I hope this is like the most cursed seed in the game.
It's all S pieces.
All S pieces.
What have you done?
You both ready?
Are we ready, players? Are we ready, PRGE? Let's do
count
this.
down in
3, 2, 1. Tetris. All right, Jakey and Y here, laser focused. Similar build right now, almost exactly the same. It looks like they started deviating once that L piece hit the board. And Wyatt Tetris ready. Jakey, a couple of big misplays here, and they're just piling on, Peyton.
You don't. If you're Jakey Winks, you know you can't afford to have more than like 10 pieces burned. You're the one, and you're already down a game. You want to be the one that sets the momentum for the decider. You don't want to just hang on by a thread.
Well, we've seen a real brilliant comeback here. It looks like that rough start never happened for Jakey. Now he's just looking for a line, and he closes the well too early. There was water there, and he didn't see it, but now he goes for a splash. 34,274, 127. A very aesthetically pleasing board for Wyatt, just that giant square of red pieces. He is at 25 lines and 82,000 points here. In your mindset, Peyton, you're up 1-0. Are you playing a little bit more aggressively, or are you trying to slow yourself down a little bit, and not put yourself under too much pressure?
So if I'm up 1-0, I kind of just go with the flow of things. A lot of the time, that does mean I make a little more, an aggressive move here or there, especially in a best of 3. I really want to capitalize and almost send it like as quick as possible. But unfortunately, you don't get that opportunity a lot of the time with these players. So, if you're able to be the momentum setter, then do it. But if
you don't want to take too many risks and put yourself in a situation where it's suddenly 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, if we saw AV earlier when they had a 1-0 lead, and they played pretty strong, pretty conservative for still having a almost 600K transition, and there were so many things that could have went wrong if they just did one piece differently because they wanted to go aggressive.
Meanwhile, we saw Wyatt with a nice little S kick there, tucking things in. He's holding on to a lead here. That stack getting a little precarious, though. Really needs to start getting that right side well, and absolutely does. He's first into the 200K zone. But Jakey playing a really clean board on his own right.
Yeah, Jakey was behind by a fair bit to start off. I mean, only had about 80,000 through 35, 40 lines. And has been, I don't want to say perfect, but it's been pretty darn close to it. I mean, has been scoring just quite a bit, especially Tetris is.
And our chat here cheering on both players here live. If you're watching us live, if you're watching us on demand, hey, come join us sometime, twitch.tv/Classic Tetris. And we've got 4 channels of Tetris goodness for you here. But for those of us here live, we are enjoying this match. It's Jakey trying to mount a comeback. He's down by a couple of Tetrises, about 32,000 points, or 37,000 points. Wyatt holding onto a clean board here, and nearly Tetris ready. He will be Tetris ready with his 323,494, and dropping that Tetris down to 46,300 as these players getting close to the triple digit area. And again, that's really where you got to start planning and plotting, because you know that transition is looming.
I mean, if you're both of these players, I wouldn't be disappointed at all with either score. Wyatt 369 through 88 lines, so almost will be a mid 400K, around 100 lines, playing perfect. Jakey, behind a little, but definitely can make it up in 19. A very capable player.
Wyatt has locked himself into a 400K spot, so well done there. He is Tetris ready again, but that center well a little dangerous. He managed to get some L pieces to fill that up, but when those center wells get that deep, that high up, it can get scary.
Yeah, Wyatt kind of going a little bit more aggressive with the stack. Has the 1-0 lead, can afford to give up a game, but also wants to hammer as much pace as possible.
Right.
So doing exactly what we were talking about, and isn't even fazed by it.
And another Tetris for Jakey. He's in the 400K zone. But as we say that, Wyatt now in 500,000 territory, but he's 15 lines away from transition. Meanwhile, it's 7 less lines for Jakey, so that means more Tetrises for him. Nice tuck play on the top of his stack there. He's at 425, and really looking for a blue L piece. Not quite going to get it here. So just trying to get that well exposed on that right side, as he is at 431 to Wyatt's 555.
Beautiful S-spin for Wyatt. Burns into the transition 579. This is a dominating performance for Wyatt. Absolutely showing this community who they are. Beautiful triple there. Just all around good stacking for Wyatt. Not quite Tetris ready.
He is now, though.
Ooh, but this RNG.
While, Jakey fumbling that straight piece. That's going to be brutal. And now his board's starting to stack up. And that's not the time to do it when you come into transition like that. And, that's a couple of tough plays. That's going to be it for Jakey. Real brutal there. It'll be a win for Wyatt at a 621, 587. He'll advance to round 2.
At the end of round 1, let me know. We're going to take like a break of some sort, and then we'll reconvene everybody, and we're going to try to get down to the finals, I think, or the final 4. Rather than fighting later, but it's like 2 o'clock, so we're doing great.
Yeah, great pace. All right, folks.
Please hang out, let me know.
I'm good. I'm just getting water every few matches.
You mind? Is he talking too much for you? You can slug him. He's my employee.
He's perfect.
All right,
Perfect. Yeah. So,
All right, folks. We're going to be right back here on the Classic Tetris 4 channel. More silver bracket action in round 1 coming to you right after this.
It's been a blast so far. I'll see you again in a few minutes. while we're getting all situated, I would just like to take a moment to thank one of our main sponsors, of course, the Tetris Company, funding the bulk of the prize pool, $10,000, and donated from the Tetris Company to our players. Absolutely amazing, supportive, and just a great, a great company that helps us, build up what we can, allowing for our competitors to get what they really deserve. That's the prizes.
All right, well, these players getting a few minutes to warm up. Our 6th seed, Ian Keith, with a very descriptive piece of headwear, and Barrett, the poker face player, rocking those glasses. Both these players very, very good. And Barrett's been a mainstay in Tetris for quite some time.
Yeah. I was lucky enough in last year's CTWC bronze bracket to have the opportunity to play Barrett. It was my first and only time still. It was an absolute blast. And Ian Keith, well, there's very few people I think I've played as much as them, and I love every second, every moment, every interaction I've ever had with them.
And with our booth being all facial hair, of course, we respect the beard game.
Yes.
All right, your seed's going to be 818. All right, players, are you ready? Good luck. Let's do this, PRGE, in 3, 2, 1, Tetris!
Tris.
6th seed versus the 27th seed here. And already a difference in sequencing here. Barrett's just going to take an early burn line here. Really, I think just for sanity in piece placement. Ooh, but that's a tough play on that long piece. You're going to have to work around that, but early on shouldn't be too much of a problem. Meanwhile, Ian's already rocked one Tetris. He's looking for another. And you see him starting to stack that right side up. And he is Tetris ready. Barrett has yet to rock a Tetris, but he is starting to get some good board health going. You see a nice flat space for the most part. There's his first Tetris. But Ian responded with the Tetris a little earlier. So 50,941 to 35,340.
Ooh, and an early tap there for Barrett with the S piece. It's going to be a little bit more unfortunate. Just kind of a suffer start for Barrett this game.
Tough piece placement on that S, but manages to clear it out, bring that stack down. Ian Keith, however, still maintaining pretty decent board health here, and he's going to rock himself another Tetris. He's into 6 figures first, only 28 lines in.
I know I have high hopes for Ian Keith because they are one of my favorite DAS players, but at the end of the day, you can't shut down Barrett, or you can't just put out Barrett. A mainstay of the Tetris community, having a suffer start here, but guess what? It's one game. And when we have 3 games to play, you're in all 3 until the moment you top out.
And Barrett, one of those few dual threat puzzle games, also pretty talented on the Dr. Mario side as well. Really seeing him, I've been able to see him show off skills in both games. Tetris is his better game, but he's no slouch at Dr. Mario either. Taking a look here, Barrett's about to rock another Tetris. He's about 50,000 points behind, but two really fortunate L pieces there to really fill out and get himself Tetris ready, as he's at 47 lines. Now he's tied up for lines here, but down by about 34,000, but Ian with another Tetris, he's in 200K territory already. 55 lines, putting together a pretty good pace here.
Yeah, I mean, Ian doing exactly what Ian does best. Some amazing 18 play. And what else? It looks like there's some love in the chat for Dr. Mario. Maybe if you want, you can plug a little bit on your event that's coming up.
Oh, we can talk about that at any time. I want to talk about these players here first. We're really here to talk about Tetris. We can talk about other games here later on in the stream. Ian's starting to get a precarious stack here, getting a little dangerous. He's going to have to get some center well play done, and he will. He's going to get a couple of consecutive doubles, lowering that stack, and a good L piece for a triple, and then evens himself back out, opens the board, gets the Tetris.
Boom!
Really nice patience under pressure there. Barrett also rocking himself a Tetris, and he's now gained the lead, 285 to 267 here as these players about halfway to transition.
Yeah, like I said, you can't count Barrett out. He had a slow suffer opener, but at the end of the day, all it takes is a little bit of a slowdown from one player and a little bit of efficiency from another, and you have the lead. And that's exactly what we saw happen.
And Barrett trying to get himself back on that stack, Tetris ready. Ian Keith trying to claw his way back here, only down by about 25,000. That number's gone up a little bit though with another Tetris by Barrett. Both these players about to hit triple-digit territory, and good clean boards from both here, as Barrett and Ian both Tetris ready. And we're going to see one from Ian. He is now down by 15,000, but Barrett responds immediately with a Tetris of his own, bringing that gap back to about 38,000.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, both of these players are extremely competent, but Ian does still have the limits of DAS. I mean, Barrett is not the world's fastest tapper by any means, but that's just slight extended mobility. You might be able to get a little bit more over, and a rough sequence like we just saw for Ian. If Ian did not get that bar, it would have been game over.
Oh, and Ian in a dicey situation. He's going to have to start burning everything to the ground here. Getting a double, then getting a single. He's going to have to get that gap open in column 7. He does. So he is looking good here. 361,000 and 395 here. Barrett trying to be Tetris ready, getting that straight piece stacked up. Oh, that's a big mistake. He's going to have to work on dropping that stack down. He will with the Tetris.
Beautiful piece. Oh no! It was beautiful pieces, but just